Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Cryptoware. Today we are going to analyze a sample whose hash is present here. So in one of my previous videos, I did explain about an XLS file and how it was downloading an HTA file. So the viewer has actually shared the hash with me and I have downloaded it. So I'll share the basic analysis of it. And thank you so much for sharing. Here it is. So this is the hash of the file, and as I mentioned, it is an HTA file. I'll share the link of the video where I explained about that XLS file in the description below, so you can check it out. So first things first, we'll just check the file type. We'll try to understand some basic things related to this file, and also as you can see, I have done some basic analysis from my end as well. So it also says that it is an HTML document. So few other things, since this is an HTML document, so we do not have to actually specifically look for strings. We can directly look at the script file. So here is it. This is the file, the HTA file that was shared. And we'll just quickly go through. We are not going to analyze each and every step, and I'll share the hash of the sample as well in the description. So you can check it yourself too while analyzing. So we can see certain things like window dot resize. So maybe it is trying to create a window which will be of size 0, so the user is not aware. Again, if you want to analyze a sample, very basic steps that we perform, we can go through that as well. Like, I'll just quickly check the hash of the sample from virus total so that we can understand if it has already been uploaded over here. Then we can see the virus total score from there. We can get an idea whether it's malicious or not, and we can see the score is pretty high, which is nice. Again, if the sample is confidential, do not upload it. Yes, you can share the hash, you can check with the hash, but do not upload it in those cases. Next thing is, again, then we get back to analyzing the sample. So few things we can see that base 64 something is a function is present, so maybe there is a usage of base 64. What else we can see? ActiveX object, security cryptography, it is used for base 64 encoding decoding. So maybe there is some form of base 64 present. And from here also, from the right hand side, you can see that yes, there is base 64 encoded strings over here. So we'll analyze that as well, and that is one of the most important thing. But let's just quickly go through the script. Again, few things, like this is a JavaScript, so we are well aware and we are on the same page that what kind of file it is, what with which kind of scripting file it is it. What are some of the IOCs, indicators of compromise? I have explained before as well. From here also, we are trying to identify those indicators from where a compromise can happen to a device. As simple as that. So it could be a URL, it could be any function, it could be any strings, it can be the hash of the sample as well. Again, scrolling down, we will see some interesting things like csc.exe. So maybe it is looking for an exe file. What else can we see? That it is using Microsoft.NET framework. So it is looking for something within the framework, within this folder, I mean. So it is looking for the folders present within it. What else can we observe? Maybe it is looking for some kind of version. Maybe based on that, it is going to perform some kind of execution. It is using wscript.shell. These all can be considered as some form of indicators that yes, some kind of suspicious activity could be happening over here. Again, I try to perform dynamic analysis when it is required. At this point of time, our goal is to identify if it is performing any malicious behavior or not, and that's what I'm going to do. So, if it is not required for me to perform a dynamic analysis at this stage, then I will not perform that. What else can we see? That some kind of environment variable is used. There is a URL. Again, if this URL is an IOC, we can check from virus total. That is also a very interesting thing that we can do. Here we can simply paste the URL and we can see the VT score. Now, what else, other kind of information can you get from virus total other than the detection score, or the, yes, the virus total score? So it tells 8, so maybe it is malicious. Few things what else that we check over here is what kind of scanners are actually mentioning it as malicious. So if there is some good well known scanners, then we can trust them. Then there are details. We can gather some more information from the details, that it says known infection source, command and control, compromised websites. So yes, could be a possible malicious sample serving IP addresses there. The status code is 404. So maybe if we execute this sample, we may not be able to see what is happening when it tries to, run this URL or tries to browse through this URL. What else can we derive from here? That maybe it is downloading something, not from here, but maybe later on, or it wants this for some other kind of information. Right now, we are not getting into that detail for now. Yeah. So, scrolling down, we will see some more information, some other thing. So, there are two variables that have been declared over here, which is pretty interesting. Again, this is also quite interesting. And there are comments also which is mentioned over here. So we can see it is again looking for the subfolder, some kind of version check that it is trying to do. Again, the same URL which we observe over here. And now here we see that there is a base 64 encoding. Now variable var so, we observed it over here also, and below also we see it. And if you scroll below, scroll down, um, you will see another variable that has been declared. So there are two base 64 encoding that have been declared over here. I mean, encoding has been declared using a variable here. We have seen SO and AD before, so it was declared at something else before, but here it is again declared as two separate base 64 encoding. So what I have done for now is I have saved both the encodings in two different files. So the first base 64 encoded strings are over here, and the second one is over here. So again, we can consider this as something very suspicious. We have observed some of the functionalities. We also checked the VT score. These are the very basic steps that you follow while analyzing a malicious sample. Every time you don't have to get into a debugger or into a disassembler unless it is required. It totally depends upon the kind of language, I mean, the scripting language that has been used for writing that malware, or the kind of file it is. So, based on that, you decide what to do. Since this is a JavaScript, so if you want to debug and understand, then you will have to use the debugger which can help us into debugging this JavaScript. For now, we are not doing that. So we have these two base 64 encoded strings. We will decode it. Now we'll just use remnux for that. So here you can see base 64.txt and base 64.2.txt. So you can simply write cat b64.txt and base 64 -d. So this will decoded everything for you, decode that part if it is a base 64, I mean that file. So from here you can see that yes, there are some strings which are visible to us. Now again, what you can do is try to see, you can try to check the hash of this also. So what we can do at this point is we can what we can do is redirect all the final output, that is the decoded part or the decoded string of this file, into this file, which is decode1.txt. So we are saving it as that. So I have already used, I have already decoded it over here. So again, we will do file and we'll see what kind of file type it is. So it just says this is data. So uh, we can simply check the hash of the file. Sorry, it has to be SHA-256 sum. Yes. So we'll quickly check the hash of the file again in VT. So from here, if it is already present or not, we can check from here. So it says that this is a kind of TTF file. It is, the score is quite low, but that is totally fine. We'll analyze the file a little after. Now we'll do the same thing with the next file, which is we'll perform the same steps like base642.txt and we'll decode it and we'll redirect the output to decode2.txt. Now I have created another folder because this sample is quite interesting. I mean, the output is quite interesting to us. So that is the reason I created another folder. And in that folder, I have saved this or redirected this output. So if we go to this folder, you will see that this is the decode2.txt. Again, we'll follow the same steps that we performed for decode1.txt. We'll check the file type. It says that this is a compressed data gzip. So you can use directly gzip to uncompress it or decompress it, or you can use uh, uh, any other tool as well to uh, decompress it again. So you can use 7z as well. I think zip can also help. So whichever you do, if it is not too complicated, it should be able to unzip it for you. Okay. So I've already done this. So I have used 7zx decode 2.txt. So it directly gives me decode 2. As you can see that I had already done this. So I'll just quickly close it. And here we will see the file of decode 2, which says that this is a portable executable file, but it is DLL. Now, this is quite interesting, and we'll again check the hash of this file as well. So it's SHA-256 sum and decode 2, and we'll quickly check the hash of this sample also. So it has a pretty high score. And what all details can we get from here? That it tells us that it's a kind of info stealer, it's a spy, maybe spyware, info stealer, keylogger. So we can understand some kind of what kind of file or malware type it is. These are certain things that we can guess from here. We can get an idea, basically. That is why we use all these platforms. So, from details, also, you can get a lot of information specific to the hashes. What does detected easy say? So, you can get the result over here also. With what all names it is present, you can see all those things. Also, some portable executable information. So, you can get a different kind of information. I mean, some more information specific to that file if you're looking for that specific hash. From relations also you can gather a lot of information. Now this is something that everyone of you can do, because I have not signed in, so I don't have an I have not logged in with using any account of mine. So without even logging in, you can gather a lot of information from here. So you can see the execution parents over here. So the score is pretty high, so that gives us, like, it makes these samples more malicious, more suspicious basically. And of course we already know that this is a malicious sample. Yeah, so we'll go to the behavior. It's kind of slow. So you can get more information about the behavior tags specific to this file. Execution, defense, evasion. If you are aware of the MITRE attack tactics and techniques, this is something very important for, while doing your research and analysis on malicious samples and different threat actors, threat groups, and threats in general. You can see what kind of malware behavior, so this gives you an idea of what the malware is doing, and this is very important. This is kind of enumeration that you're performing from your end about the malware or about the sample before doing your own analysis. Even from here you gather a lot of information which slightly helps you in confirming whether this is malicious or not. From the community also you can get some more information, like it has already mentioned some filescan.io analysis that this is malicious. The final verdict is malicious over here. Now going back to the sample, we have the hashes. Sorry, the base 64. We can, what other information, what else can we do from here? So let's look at the first file that we decoded. What do we see in that file, which is decode1.txt? Few things that we can do is use strings, as we have always used before. So you can see that here few strings are very nicely visible. Method name, target type name, some runtime remoting messaging header handler, some system dot reflection that is being used, and we have to be very we can be sure that it is related to .NET. Even the script file from the script file, from the HTA file, also you can see that it talks about some functions which is very much specific to .NET. So mostly the sample has been written in .NET. I'm not talking about this sample, I'm talking about the DLL, or if there is any other executable present as well. So another interesting thing that we can observe is within this file, we can see that this program cannot be run in DOS mode is mentioned. So there could be a possibility of a presence of a PE sample within this also. Although I cannot see the MZ header, but this kind of makes us feel that yes, there is an usage of portable executables file. But we'll just quickly go through. We are not going to analyze that uh, too much. We will just quickly see that there is a usage of a DLL file. So maybe this is the DLL file that we found, which was embedded in that script. That could be the DLL file which is being used, possibly. We'll scroll more. We will see what other strings are present. And that's it. It does not have a lot of things, but this is also quite interesting, which is system.reflection.assembly load byte. So it is trying to load something, most probably. So it could be a loader. Also, we observed some URLs. So maybe it is downloading something. We are just simply guessing. And these are the points that we are thinking of, and we have to, in the end, connect those dots to finally give a verdict whether it is malicious or not. As of now, it is a kind of loader. Whether it is downloading something or not, that is something thing that we need to check. Maybe it is downloading, as we saw some URLs. I think we saw only one URL. So maybe it is trying to download something from there, which is not at all active anymore. Also, there's a presence of a DLL file. So maybe it is loading something. So maybe there's a usage of a DLL file. Also, that file has a pretty high score, VT score. So we will move to the DLL file. Again, similar to this, we will check the strings of the DLL file. We are not going to thoroughly analyze anything right now, but we'll just quickly guess what is it trying to do. So again, this is a DLL. This is a portable executable file. What other information can we gather? We can quickly check. These are some basic strings. You will observe them more or less in majority of those samples, exe samples. We'll just quickly check if there is any kind of interesting thing. So this is something which is quite interesting, like when HTTP open, crack URL, connect failed, request URL. If this is not a rabbit hole, then there could be a possibility of some kind of request that is being made. So there could be possibility, or it could be a rabbit hole as well. We are not sure. But again, if we go with the verdict from what we got in virus total, that it is an info stealer, then most probably it is trying to steal information, or maybe it is trying to connect to a CNC server. That CNC server could be the URL that we found, or maybe there is some other URL as well, which we have not observed yet. What other we can see, that it is trying to read data, query data available, receive response. So this is kind of interesting. Again, we can consider them as our IOCs again. There's usage of some more DLL files. There is usage of virtual protect. So virtual protect is being used. So maybe it is trying to change the um, permission of something, some file, some part of the memory. It depends. Again, here you can see Win64, some Chrome. So basically, it is trying to make a connection to something. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is not it, but we will check everything. This is Microsoft.com, and but this is not HTTPS. Although, but I'm not hoping this to be, and this should not be the CNC or something. What other can we check? There's some other strings which are quite interesting. Few things that we can again check after we are done with going through the strings would be checking the entropy of the sample, whether it is packed or not. Since we are able to see a lot of strings, maybe this is not packed, but we cannot guarantee that at this point, but we'll definitely check. Again, when HTTP send request data, so we can be pretty sure that yes, this is trying to make a connection to something. Load library is used, kernel 32.dll is being used, of course, because we can see the functions, the API calls that is made from here. Terminate process, we can see some more interesting thing like is debugger present. This is something that we have covered before in one of my previous video. So based on the strings, we observed some kind of calls that have been made, based on which we can actually declare that yes, this looks like malicious, and it is pretty huge file. I can see, okay, it's done. So let's check what detected easy says. From detected easy also we can identify, maybe detected easy is not here, I'm not sure. Yeah, here it is. So we'll quickly check the file. Okay, doesn't matter. So what other information can we see? That yes, operating system Windows Vista 32-bit, it is a DLL. This is something very interesting. It was written in CC++. Okay, so this is not specific to .NET. So there is something else which is specific to .NET. Maybe it will get downloaded, or mm, I don't think it is embedded anywhere, but there is some other sample also that we have not found yet. Now, what other information can we see is we can check the entropy from here. It says it is not packed, so that's great. But here you can see it says the text is packed, of course, because it has the main code. So that's fine. What other information can we get? Um, we can check the resources. What do we have? Okay. For now, we do not have to go through too much. Okay. So from Detect It Easy, we identified that maybe this is not the .NET one. So that's it for today. We will be analyzing the sample using Ghidra. We will understand how you can perform a very basic analysis of a sample of a DLL or an EXE sample using Ghidra. I'll be using the same sample. We'll understand, we'll learn about the tool also, and we'll learn about some basic form of analysis also. If I try to analyze this sample, the DLL file using Ghidra, it will be a more longer video, which we do not want as of now. We do not want it to be overwhelming for me and for the audience, both. So we will analyze it in the like I'll analyze it and we'll share in a separate video. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel CryptoWare. And also let me know if you want me to analyze any other samples. You can share the hashes of those samples with me, and I'll try to analyze them and share the videos over YouTube. Thank you so much.